All right. So welcome to the interview with Alex. Alex is 23 years old and lives in Paris. He and I did a short interview that it's on the KMikeM blog. He's been doing projects in crypto for a while and recently created a personal token called Alex that allowed him to raise $20,000. Was that US dollars?
That was US dollars, yes.
Okay, yeah. And then the holders of those tokens, he agreed to basically pay them 15% of his income over the next 3 years. So he's also worked in the functionality to do voting, and his token holders, I'm going to keep trying not to say shareholders, his token holders voted that he should take up running for a month. And then part of his dream is to move to the United States, found a huge tech company that changes the world and become incredibly rich. And he's asked me to write a letter of recommendation for his visa application. So I agreed pending approval of my shareholders. And this is an opportunity for all my shareholders to get to know Alex. So yeah.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for this opportunity. This is amazing. And you're really kind.
I broke these up into, there's basically 3 categories of questions. There's some personal questions about coming to the United States, and then there's questions about kind of the token, your community, and everything around that. So I kind of figured just to kind of get to know you, we'd start with the personal questions, and they're a little bit random. But we'll start with what's your family like?
What's my family like? So that's a nice question. So my dad is a hand surgeon. So he repairs upper limbs and shoulders and everything. So he's done like a ton of years of studies. My mom was a broker trader, something in finance, like trader. And then now she's in real estate, like luxury real estate. And she's great at negotiating, which is nice skill. And so, yeah, they're both quite ambitious people, like relative to what they, relative to their backgrounds. Like they grew up in like technology world and things like this. So, and I have 2 brothers, and I have 2 younger brothers. And basically like the framework of my family is like we grew up 0 to 18 in Paris, and we spend 18 to 21 in the UK. So we become bilingual. Mm-hmm. And then we just do 3 years and we stop. And this is what I've done. This is my younger brother has done, and probably my youngest, which is still in high school, is going to do the same. And it's a nice framework because like we're bilingual and we're like, like so far so good. So this is my family. We're like 5 and super happy. I love my parents. So yeah, like no bad relationships, no red flags here. Next question.
Next question. Imagine you're dead. There's no time frame given, so you can put this at either in the future or whenever. Who is speaking at your funeral, and what do they say?
This is so fun. So who's speaking at my funerals? So I traveled quite a lot. So I've been, so I would have my French friends. I would have my friends from the UK and my friends from the US because I spent 6 months in San Francisco, and then friends from crypto. They would say that. So my French friends would say like I'm a bit crazy, and I followed my dreams of like technology, and my background wasn't really. No one is doing technology startups and things like this. So they would say like, well, it's kind of weird, but like he was about to, I mean, no, he was about, but like he was like there was early signs that he was doing great, and like that's really sad that we lost him. And he was obsessed with crypto, and he was obsessed with startups and things, and that's. I hope that they would mourn me, but so I would say, a very passionate person, very optimistic person, very open-minded. These are kind of like the things I hope I will be remembered for. And then, like optimizing from impact startups, like extreme ambition baked into my identity, because when I was young, I just happened to read like startups and Steve Jobs and CEOs a lot, whilst others were like, I don't know, watching TV reality or something. And so this completely screwed my personality towards startups. And this explains why I have kind of like an extreme personality. And I mean, extreme, it's not.
What are your sort of like entertainment go-tos? How are you relaxing and like, or like what are your cultural inputs?
So I really love music and I love dancing. So like I do like shuffle, hip hop. So I would say yeah, dancing and music. But then again, and so like this is one of my bucket lists. Like I really want to do like a music video where I dance, maybe I sing and rap, or I don't know, with like autotune because maybe my voice is bad. But I think I can do like a decent choreography, and I really want to do a music video. I think it would be very fun, but it's just not in my priority. It's just yeah, I'm tech
Yeah.
right now and
Yeah.
startups. But I'm singing on Instagram and lip syncing, whatever. So if you want to follow my Instagram, like, but I have almost no followers on Instagram. So this just means like there's no demand for this. Yeah.
Do you think gold is a good investment?
So I don't because I am in crypto and in crypto there is Ethereum right now. Ethereum is extremely undervalued. There's 100 billion at least that's going to be transacted this year. There's been already like I think 50 million or something, and it's going exponential. But right now Ethereum is only valued at 40 billion, and so I have a lot of my net worth in Ethereum. It's really, really, really going up right now, and I have like some sort of mechanism where if Ethereum ever drops, there's a limit order that's like evolving to the anyway, it's like a complex mechanism, but in case this crashes, I sell automatically without me knowing, and this is safe. And my net worth has grown dramatically the past few months, and this we are just witnessing the start of a new crypto craze like 2017. So if like yeah, not investment advice,
Sure.
but I'm in the space for a while, and this is a crazy ride is happening soon.
Did you put a fair amount of the 20,000 that you raised into Ethereum?
So I put the entirety of my 20,000 amounts in an automated, as I said, trading mechanism that if ETH drops below the 20 days average, it would resell to USD. And so I did this in March. ETH was extremely low and it kind of further dived down, but it never went below the 20,000 because it slightly went at like 23 because it's volatile. And then it went down, but then there was a cap going down, sold back. And and I also insured with like a insurance protocol in crypto. There's like things for everything. So like I was insured. So I think I'm doing it safe. Like they will need to have two protocols breaking at the same time, like either the insurance or the other one. And so far, so good. And I'm diversifying as well. So unless the whole blockchain is breaking down, which is extremely unlikely, I think I am doing something that's quite reasonable. And yeah, I've lost some small money in the past year, but now I'm like more experienced than ever managing my funds.
Do you hold any stocks, any traditional stocks at all?
No,
No, nothing.
I hold like pretty much all of my net worth is in Ethereum related products. And this might look extremely risky to people listening to this, not in crypto, but I will look very smart soon because there's just so much happening right now.
I think it's also less risky because even if you lose it all, you're young enough to sort of like build that back up.
Yeah,
Even if
yeah,
you go all the way
yeah.
to zero, you're 24, so who cares?
Exactly.
Like
Yeah. Like I
it's maybe
am
more
more.
risky for me to put it all in.
No, yeah, for sure, for sure. Like I don't have extreme amounts. Well, actually, well, compared to my age, I am quite wealthy right now. And if this doesn't work, yeah, I'm young. It's fine, I can redo it. But if it does work, it's life changing. I can move to SF even more comfortably. So this is just like, yeah, like food for thoughts. That yeah, it is the risk reward ratio is fine.
Hmm. And then one other question here is like around this is what other cryptocurrencies do you hold?
So I hold a basket called SDFi, which is so on Ethereum right now. The reason why it's booming so far and it's gonna boom in the future is because there's a new financial industry being replicated on Ethereum, and we believe that this is gonna be eventually the single biggest financial infrastructure in the world, replacing the legacy systems built by our grandparents that is so outdated. Like it's so normal that software takes over money, right? And so I'm not really a trader. So there's like a SDFi token which is a basket of the 10 biggest protocols tokens. And so I would get if one of them just moonshots during the next few months because of the craze, then I will catch the upside. But it's mostly on Ethereum products. They're all insured. It's I have some like leverage financial trading, but it's all automated. Like if it goes down, there's mechanisms for it to either sell or to diminish my position, diminish my leverage, and there's a lot of automated things you can do in crypto, so that you don't really think about it, but you maximize profit and things like this. So
do you
yeah,
ever
so
talk to your mom about this stuff?
I do. So my parents, like, basically, like, I hadn't made a single cent as of like December 2019, and my parents were like, "This is like, it's not putting pressure, but this is like, you could start maybe having a job." And I was like, "No, like, I'm not the linear employee just going linear. Like, this is gonna go crazy. Like, because of my investments, because of my work that I'm doing, and my value in the market as a marketer and someone doing product is gonna go big in the future, like, I'm sure, etc." And yeah, like, out of the blue, I went from someone who made zero just on Twitter saying stuff to being paid like thousands of dollars for, like, a tweet or a Medium article straight
Yep.
up. And so this, plus the fact that it's invested in a crypto that's going up, plus my token 20,000 raised, like, all of this happened in the past 6 months, and it's been crazy.
Yeah.
So yeah, I believed in myself, and now, like, my value is much more realistic than in the past. Like, I knew that, yeah, I was not making any money, but it was long-term game. And yeah.
What was the sort of initial reason for the Alex token? Like, why? The question is, why did you become publicly traded?
So the reason why is because, so as I said, December 2019, I made no money. On December 2019, I am getting a deal by a company who is paying $2,000 a month for me to post videos, which takes like an hour a day or something. And I was like, that's awesome. Like, I can literally continue my life. This is almost zero work, and I can get like a salary that's like really nice. Um, and in March, of course, I was not prioritized as an employee for literally posting videos, right? And so they cut this, and I was like, well, I'm not sure I'm gonna get this again, but spoiler, I got this again in different ways.
Yeah.
And I was like, and probably I should raise funds, and I have this token that I've used with Roll, but we never really did anything with it. It didn't really work out, and I was like, I should just do this. And the reason why is because this happened, and at the same time, I was like scheduled to be main stage of a very big conference in Paris talking about personal tokens. And I was like, just announcing it and getting the feedback will be enough for me to gauge whether I should do this. And it was pretty well accepted, and then did it. And then 5 days later, it sold off. And this is when the media picked up. So like, the media picked it
Yeah.
up only when it was done, which makes sense because they don't care about announcements. But yeah.
Right. So if you'd kept that job, you probably wouldn't have done it.
Exactly. No, like, yeah.
Wow.
And I also lost a little sum as well. Like, I left the job, and I also lost like a few $1,000s, which at the time was enormous for
Yeah.
me. And so I was really at the very lowest, and I remained optimistic, and I was like, that's fine. I'm going to announce this. Everything's going to be fine. And this was a lifesaver for me. And now I'm kind of like, well, I'm making quite a lot of money, and probably 15% of my income is actually quite a lot, but it's fine. It's capped, but it's capped
Right.
very, very gently, right? Like, I still can give a lot of money, but I'm tied to my token holders. So yeah.
When does the first 15% payment happen, or has it
It,
happened already?
it happened already last week, 1st of August. I guess I can tell your audience. So I made $12,000 in the past 3 months. So I had to be super transparent.
Yep.
And so
That's scary. That's
$12,000.
a scary thing to be financially transparent.
Yeah. So I made $12,000 in the past 3 months, which is insane to me. Like, it's
Yeah.
at the time of COVID, I was super, super broke. I had no clue I would make that much money. And so that's $1,800. That's 15% of 12K. And so I asked, like, what currency do you want to be in? Is it USDC, which is like the tokenized US dollars?
Yep.
And they were like, no, we actually are very long Alex. So
They
what we
want more
want,
tokens.
so what they want is liquidity tokens on Uniswap, the trading exchanges. And so I give them like the because we can have token of everything. Like, I gave them the token of the liquidity on the exchange. So it's half ETH, half Alex, because the market pair is Alex ETH.
Wow.
So, and this is like such a positive sum. Like, amazing thing because I give out less money. I only gave out 900 because I have so many Alex. So it
Right,
feels like
right.
I'm giving less, but in the future, and Alex just skyrocketed because of my last announcement. They're making more. I'm paying them less. So like the ISA, people in the traditional startup world told me, that's a bit much, and you're like 23, and this is gonna go till like you're 26. This is a little bit too much, but to be honest, because of crypto, yield and financial optimization, plus the fact that I will do this with Alex tokens, it's
Hmm.
a win-win for everyone.
Yep. So what happens? What happens to the value of the Alex token in 3 years when it's no longer tied to that 15%? Does it just plummet, and is it kind of quote unquote over?
Um, so when it's so Alex is used for other things like voting on my life, a bunch of other experiments that are like utility based, so no income claims. For that one, yeah, after those 3 years, they can dump and it's the same market. So probably at the end, if I don't say something, so I don't know what will happen then, but one thing about ending my experiment would be a buyback program, which is,
Hmm.
deposit your tokens here. I'm going to give you dollars. Thank you very much. This is the end. I'm buying it at market price. So I could do
You
that.
you could
Or,
even buy. I would think that like the closer you get to the end of the 3 year period, the closer the price of Alex will be to the expected payout price, because
mm,
because it only has, like, when there's only one more payment, then the bet is like, is it going to be higher or lower than that? And so there might just be like a
right.
natural arc to it as well. And so a buyback at, you know, before that might be attractive to people and might save you
Yeah.
money.
Yeah.
Again,
Yeah.
just like adjusting the risk versus the reward of that.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
that that's a fun thing to play with.
Yeah, that's interesting. But right now, the price is not really pegged to the
Right.
expected payouts because so this is a bit confusing. I should have maybe done two tokens, but there's still 9 million tokens on the market. So one is reserved for the income claim that is
Yep.
not tied to any income. And this is basically the tokens trading, because the other ones, they're keeping it because I told them if you sold or I see your exit, you're not going to get your share of the ISA because I want you
Right.
to be hold on the and stuff. So they're all holding for 3 years. Like it would make no sense to sell. And so,
Oh, so if they sell those tokens that they sell, they're not transferring the ability to
no,
receive that income
no,
share. Okay, so
no.
those aren't tradable tokens.
Yeah. So if they do that, it just ends up being a normal Alex token, which is
Got it.
fine. But I did this because one, I think it's better for me. Like it's cheaper if my
Hmm.
ISA decreases over time for people who stop believing in me.
Yep.
And also they're getting upside. Like if they exit, they're gonna sell. So if you're getting upside, like I'm not gonna give, like you guys are making money between each other. I'm not gonna give income to you either. And maybe also for like legal reasons and stuff. Like this
Sure.
is 30 known people. Um, like if I do this tradable, like it could end up in
Yep.
like
Yep. The
other
securities
people's
issues
hands
and all
that
that kind of
I
stuff.
have I
Yep.
have no clue of, etc. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, I want there to be a market for everything, but I understand why you might not. You might limit that one. Um, what are the greatest hurdles to building microeconomies around human equity?
Um, so right now, I would say it's so you've done this pretty well. So maybe you are better positioned for people who are still in fiat or dollar-based systems. In the crypto system, it's quite easy to do, especially since my community personally is like crypto native. They understand this. So we are, and it's not just me. There's a trend right now. So it was like Kerman, which is another entrepreneur, did this 2 weeks after me, and then there's roughly I think 5 more projects who launched very successful ones, like an art collector, um, like a community manager, then an investor group where like you have to pay tokens to get into my group. I will give you the best deals and what to buy, etc. And so it's, to be honest, on crypto, it's getting better and it's getting easier. So the biggest hurdles will be translating this to cash and like fiat on ramp. So that means like converting to US dollars very easily, because
Hmm.
right now it's really hard. So either you go your way that you did, but it's probably a lot of work setting this up. In crypto,
Yeah.
it's very easy, but we don't have a bridge yet.
Yep.
Coinbase is a nice bridge for speculating, but the bridge between tokens like me are still just for nerds because we haven't built the full bridge yet.
I assume people are working on that bridge.
Yeah, so Roll and Abridged,
Yep.
appropriately named, these two are quite symbiotic together because Roll is creating a standardized token model so like people can create it like right now without even knowing how to code. And
Mm-hmm.
then Abridged, they do permission group chats and they're gonna have a bunch of other features so that you can have like a group where it's just you and your holders and like you cannot make it to the group if you don't hold any token. So it's a very basic product, but it's nice for now. But yeah, like if we can have more things like maybe streaming or newsletters and other products, and if we can pay in dollars instead of cryptocurrencies, that would be really
Yep.
nice.
Yeah. Just making the transition in and out a lot easier. Um, so yeah, let's switch gears and talk about and talk about this plan and the letter. Can you let's start with can you kind of just walk us through what the application process is like? Or actually,
Sure,
before we get to that, like why do you want to come to America? Let's start with the why first.
sure. So basically, America is a lot of is part of my identity. I just really am an optimistic person. Think that technology is the biggest vehicle to make the world better, and all of these things that entrepreneurs usually dream of. And so it's really hard to do this in France. In France, there is no. Actually, I was just talking to French people lately, and we're trying to import talents from elsewhere because in France we do not have the talents necessary to build massive companies. This is not our history, and we have to hire external people. And so one way, easy way, when you're young and you're geographically flexible, is just to move to another place. And so, yes, maybe there's better place. Maybe there's other places in San Francisco where you can succeed. But the thing is, since I have to move anywhere from Paris, why not go to the best ever place? And as of today, the best ever place is still San Francisco. And sure, there's an argument about remote work and the fact that even with crypto, actually, like it's easier than ever to raise funds elsewhere and things like this. But if I want to build a company and I want to scale it to many employees, like 100+ employees, it's really hard in other places. The talents is here. There's a ton of smart people from Stanford and others just next to it, and the ecosystem is incredible here. And sure, the living costs are more expensive, but actually rents are going down, and they will be lowest maybe in Q1 2021, exactly where I'm coming. So I will get cheap rent, and there's a trend right now of new people my age. So there's like like the new mix, the old mix room for the new. So it feels like it's the right timing. It will be the peak of the bull market. So I'm gonna get a bit more wealthy with crypto. I can totally afford this now. And so this is the reason. For me, it's the best way to start a company. And as I just said, there's more capital and there's more talents in the US. And these are things that are much, much easier. And also, so I am part of the Interact Fellowship, which means like I have already a lot of connections in the US. It's a fellowship of young people, kind of like in their 20s, like me, and they're incredible investors and people ranking from like Founders Fund by Peter Thiel or Sequoia Capital. So like the best ever investors in the world. I am in touch with them. I am in touch with other people, and this is just like, yeah, I have a great network in Silicon Valley. It's just I'm not just a tourist there. So this is why I really want to make it. Yeah.
Yeah. What does like assuming everything goes through and you like where do you land? Like how do you start that? Have you thought through like where you begin that journey if everything works and you're like, okay, I'm landing in San Francisco, now what? Where do you
Right.
go when you get off the plane?
So when I get off the plane, probably go to my house or like a friend's house because like it's really common to host people in San Francisco with like the rent prices and stuff. And then I look for a house, but I would probably have done this like maybe the next few
Right.
months beforehand. Um, and then I have like so right now I'm basically still in the stage of finding co-founders. Well, technically right now I am building a product with a team. They're not based in SF yet because we're Europeans, but we want to be in SF. So I will be with them. We will be launching the product and perhaps fundraising then. And it will just be a better place to be, I think. So I would straight on start working like I'm doing anyways. Yeah, so this is why. So what I'm gonna do, start a startup, and then whatever stage we are, if we're fundraising, I would probably go out and fundraise, and yeah, things like this.
When do you think you'll be announcing that product?
So early September, so it's pretty soon. I'm announcing something, yeah, which would be my next startup. But at the same time, I'm like, as long as I haven't fundraised, it's still co-founder dating. So maybe I announce this and then I don't know, like I'm not sure because announcing feels like something that I don't want to cancel straight away. But
Right.
what I'm saying is that I am still tinkering about co-founders, but I have an amazing co-founder deal flow in a way. Like amazing people come and go, and there's a lot of really, really smart people that I could partner with. And so I'm trying with 2 people right now, but it could be others in the future.
Yeah.
Because I'm gonna work on this thing for years, so
yeah,
I have to
scary.
pick it right.
Yeah, I mean, my old co-founder and I were friends, but we're still friends. We're still good friends, but we definitely went through some hard times and yelled at each other and we're mad at each other a lot. So it's a long commitment and it's hard. And yeah, it's I think taking your time with it and figuring out that you can definitely work with people is smart. One other question about moving to San Francisco. If you move to San Francisco where weed is legal, will you try it?
So I have tried weed in the past in France. And I don't like weed at all. The reason why is because I like drugs that make me better, not worse. And maybe LSD is fine, like or mushrooms, if that makes you more creative or things like this. But I feel like weed, like it's making me. Weed is the opposite of ambition. It's like chill. This is so against everything I stand for that, and like
but
my
you have
best
to
friend is
relax
like,
sometimes. Sometimes you got to just like relax. I don't love weed either, so I understand. But
right. Like my best friend is like a huge weed guy, and other, and like it's very common in France. Actually, I think France is like a big country for weed, even though it's not legal here. But I don't think I would do weed a lot. I don't really drink alcohol or smoke weed or, but like mushrooms sometimes. I mean,
yeah.
no, like I've just done it once in my life. But I mean, like maybe I would do this like once every 3 months or something. But I'm a very, very reasonable person coming to things like this. Yeah.
My shareholders approved psychedelics, but I haven't.
Nice.
I haven't taken any since they've approved it, so I should.
Oh, okay. Are you approved
do
to
that.
smoke or drink?
Not approved, but I do. I mean, I drink on occasion, pretty regularly, but I don't really love. I don't love weed either. It's too.
It's quite strong. Like
and
I think
it makes me very internal. Like I just kind of want to be by myself, and it gets into my head, which is but maybe that's a good thing. All right, you answered a couple of these already, so I'm going to skip over them. Let's see. Oh yeah, so walk us through the application process. So you're thinking about the normal way. I think that if you're in tech, there's some familiarity with the idea of, like sponsoring people on a visa and doing this for a job. And I think you're taking a little bit of a different route. So kind of walk us through your understanding of that and the process that you're going through.
Right. So basically, like for people who are building startups, going on to raise funds, etc. Usually my friends, what they've done coming from Europe or other countries is they go through the exceptional talent route, which is the route that I am selecting. So there's 2 ways. Either there is O1, which is a 3-year non-immigrant visa, which is a petition by a company. Or there is the EB1 route, which is a bit more ambitious, which is it's a green card. You're going to be in the United States, granted access for life, and you don't have to have a company because you're because the bar is so high, just like O1, it's going to be really like you can just self-petition. And there's like a few criteria that you have to fulfill. And if you fulfill at least 3 of them, and you can convince the immigration lawyers, the immigration department or whatever, you're in. And so because of my connections and everything, and like my friends, like I was recommended a few lawyers, and they all agreed that I would qualify, because it isn't as strict. Like, yes, I'm going through the same green card process as like Nobel Prizes and stuff. And of course, I am nowhere near Nobel Prizes. But yet, wait for it, okay? But it is, so basically my Alex token got me a lot of press and media. My cryptocurrency savings fulfill the high potential net worth, especially given that I'm not really old. And so, like loads of press, lots of coverage, and 10 reference letters that would add substantial facts. And I'm getting some of the best investors in the world, and like super awesome founders. Even my lawyer did the CEO of Stripe, which is like a $30 billion company, and he says, I'm confident you can do EV1. So it feels like I have my chances.
Yep.
And yeah,
if you apply and you don't get it because there's too many, say, Nobel Prize winners applying that year or whatever, can you just reapply for the net? Is it annual? Like how? Like, what's the window that you have to hit to try to like get in? How hard is it that way, or is it kind of on a rolling basis?
So I talked about this with my lawyer, and I was like, "What if I get rejected?" And he said, "If you get rejected, no more fees added. We are going to slightly modify according to their feedback, and then republish it."
Okay.
And he said the probability that you get rejected twice is very, very low. And the funny thing is that as I'm literally doing the application, I am getting better in life anyways. Like I'm doing more announcement, I'm getting more media, and I'm getting more money as well. And it's a lot of things that count. And so I'm hopeful. But again, like this is true. Like I am not the most comfortable. Like I'm not a superstar. This might not work, but I have seen people no more impressive than me do this. This is like the words of my lawyer. Like I have seen people no more impressive than you make it. This should be okay. We're gonna frame it well. And
that's great. And then then the last question that we'll end on, which we kind of got into a little bit, is what makes you extraordinary?
Right. That's an interesting question. What makes me extraordinary? So wow. So I don't think, well, so what makes me extraordinary? I want to be a founder in crypto. And it seems to me that even if I don't end up like being Elon Musk or like being a massive, like achieving all my dreams, I am at least getting a lottery ticket for it, because I am following the playbook, that like I am super ambitious. I really want to accelerate technology adoption of crypto because I think it will be in the financial world fairer. It would be a better wealth distribution mechanism. It would be a better way to transfer money globally. It would be like better investments. And so I have an extremely, extremely obsessive vision. I got into crypto because it's low barriers of entry. Anyone can enter, kind of like the internet. The internet made some of the most successful entrepreneurs in the world. Today, I am sure they would be in crypto right now. And I have some of the best connections. I have done a project this year, which was called Rocket, which already I could have done investments. We were like 6 at the peak, but I didn't continue. I was the lead of that project. I didn't call myself CEO because it was like just a project and we didn't raise funding or anything, but I got reached out by tons of lawyers. So it does feel like I could be a great entrepreneur, an exceptional entrepreneur, because this is cutting edge technology. A lot of value are going to be created. And this can be a massive product because we are rebuilding finance, which is an enormous task. The web was data. It's all about data, TikTok, Uber, all of the products that we're using. But money is still done by your grandparents' system. And if we make money in software, like money is much, much bigger than data. And we see how data already makes big companies, right? Like Google and Facebook, they're pretty big. What about money? Like it's just like unparalleled. Like it's insane. Like I can't imagine the most successful founder in crypto, how big the company will be. Like it's gonna be absolutely insane. And so yeah, I think I tick the box because it's like I can potentially. So yeah, it's still like playing on my potential because it's not, but there's early signs that I have great connections. I have great energy. I'm obsessed for the past 5-10 years already. It does seem that maybe not me, but if 1,000 of people like me immigrate in the US, it's a numbers game. Like one of them is gonna be an extraordinary company. It's gonna create a lot of jobs, and this is gonna make the world better if done right, of course, because of course big companies can do bad things. So it's a numbers game. Like I think they should take a bet on me, and they do that for 1,000 people, and so.
And then a lot of people have already taken a bet on you, which is promising.
And exactly, yeah, and very successful people have taken a bet on me. So it does feel like this, and they're So exactly, I have nothing to
add. Well, yeah, and I what I really like is that along with all of your sort of focus on like the larger end, and like, yes, this stuff can be life-changing and huge and massive, and it probably will, because we're talking about like, this is like how computers are going to think about money now, and that's going to change things. But you're also very involved at this very playful level and experimentation level with it as well, because I think it's very easy to move all the way up and say like, hey, we could rebuild this whole structure up here. But it's like, well, what about for all the people down, like playing around with personal tokens, this idea that we can each have our own currency and what's it worth is the part that personally I find really fascinating and strange. And I think it's gonna change things in a way that we don't understand. I mean, and maybe it's not all positive, but we'll figure it out. So yeah, I'm an optimist as well.
I think it's gonna be really, really positive, way more than, for instance, AI. AI can become super authoritarian. Like it can be the company was the most data, they have the best product, which means they gather even more data, which means like they're like evil. But with crypto, like you have to be trusted. You have to have many shareholders because everyone has to trust you. This is like the blockchain ethos. Like you cannot be centralized. And so I do feel like crypto is gonna be like and also like there's a new, I mean, it's like crypto stuff. I might not want to talk about it, but there's a better wealth distribution. I don't think the richest people in crypto are going to be richer than the billionaires today, even though they're going to provide more value to the world, because more stocks of companies will be airdropped to users, and that's something impossible. So, for instance, Uber, if Uber was in crypto, they would give like stocks of Uber to early riders and riders and drivers. And this would have been way fairer, because there's like 1 million drivers took a bet on Uber. They're still very poor right now. It's unfair. And so crypto is fixing this. And so, yeah, it's a really huge improvement on capitalism, in my opinion. And as you said, monetize better, etc.
Just in thinking about that from the larger perspective, I mean, usually things I hold a theory that like the bigger things get, the worse they get. Like things at scale are generally bad for people, at a huge scale. What are some of the potential downsides or that you think about in this world of crypto? Like how can it be used for evil, and how do you prevent that from happening?
So the case for crypto is that, yes, companies, they attract consumers. And when they get to the level where they have everyone, then they start being rent seeking, because it's like, we reached the top. So like now we are extracting value, not creating value. And this is what's happening for the FANG companies. But with crypto, what's happening right now is that they launch their stock, and they are like, the founders, the team is exiting the own company. So they're making an exit to the stock market, and anyone can participate in the company upside. And this has been done for Compound right now. So Compound is Anderson Horowitz company, one of the most prestigious investors in the Bay Area. and they are literally decentralizing right now, and it's fine. They will be rewarded. Like they're gonna be very, very rich, but then the protocol will belong to the apps building on top of it, to the biggest users, and users will delegate some of their stocks to like politicians. So there will be like protocol politicians and software politicians that will say, hey, if you vote for me, I will be like super progressive. I will implement the new features, etc. And so that makes it super self-sustaining versus the traditional model, which without crypto was impossible to make it that way, which was we're going to have the same team forever.
Mm-hmm.
But the problem is the team can get lazy and they can be value extracting, or maybe they don't even want to be evil. It's just like for instance, I think Mark Zuckerberg has good intent. It's just like at this scale, if it's just a small echo chamber deciding, they fuck up without even knowing, because it's so hard. They don't have the power vision of overseeing 3 billion people. And so this is where it gets interesting. And this is the thesis of Arsenal Horitz and many other crypto people, which is it will be self-sustaining because it will be governed by the people. Of course, not completely, but more. It will be a more democratic.
Yep. The risk right now seems that it's you have to be pretty technical to be involved. And which, to your point, it was the case of the early internet as well, right? Like it was a small group of very technical people that sort of built that up, or at least smaller. And I think we're seeing that right now. And so, but one thing that I do think is interesting is with things like Roll, you have this opportunity for many, many small launches as part of the larger ecosystem. And so if there's like one bad actor, that's okay when it's many small things. It's like you said, it's like when you're huge, a small mistake can cause massive problems. But if you can distribute that, and have a really rich ecosystem of lots of different tokens and again, through these kind of different financial mechanisms, you can tie them together and create groups and these things. But, like I keep thinking like, what if you started a company and you and your co-founder each combined your coins and that became the coin for the company? Like there's some really interesting, strange things that could happen where your value is all tied up in it together, and then if there is one bad actor, it only hurts that one small piece as opposed to the larger thing.
It's crazy. Like you were like 12 years early. And this is happening, and not everyone, but a lot of creators, I guess, will tokenize themselves, and that's pretty nice because that will make everyone knows something early on in their life, and so if they take a bet and they capture some of the value, it's a fair mechanism. So yeah.
All right. That's all the questions. I think we answered everything. We're coming up on. Well, I guess I started early, so I guess it wasn't actually an hour, which is good because I don't want it to be too long. But any final words, final pleas for the shareholders that might vote to approve? I mean, it's passing. It doesn't, but there's some big votes out there. I think it's still passing. Yeah, it was. Let me pull it up really
awesome.
quick.
Yeah, I will check. So my message is that first of all, like I want to really thank Mike for doing this. So one reason why I want Mike to be part of the 10 people is that he's a pretty public person. Mike, so like you were featured on Wired and other very respected journals, and so this would add a substantial gain to my application because, Mike is like a legend, right? Like he did his first personal tokens. Like if I know that person, it means like that's awesome. It's like I'm super well connected and like he's great. Anyway, and so this is why I need Mike, and also it's very little effort on Mike's side. So please. Vote yes.
Nice. Yeah, great. We'll wrap up. It's always fun to talk to you about this stuff. I am, full disclosure, I'm an Alex token shareholder, but not on the IFA side. I missed that window.
Thank you so much. And I really need to hold your tokens as well.
Yeah, we should talk about an exchange, but we can talk about that later.
Yeah, cool. But just if it goes to no, I'll probably 51% attack.
Buy in. Yes. Don't say that now, or then now they're going to vote no just to get you to buy in.
No,
that'll be good for my stock price.
Alpha leaking, yeah. But that's like my protection.
And
thank you so much.
I'll probably see you on Telegram. All right.
Yeah, sure. All right, take care.
Bye.